meeting. Please raise your hand when that subject is announced. When called upon, please unmute your mic. You will be given the ability to turn your camera on during your testimony. When you're finished, please mute your mic. Oh, we're delayed. Okay. We're recording today's meeting for the sole purpose of producing written minutes, which will become the official record of this meeting. So, the February 19th, 2025 meeting of the Beneficiary Advocacy and Empowerment Committee is being called to order. The time is now 9:08 a.m. Leanne, please call the roll.
Trustee Ahuna,
Here.
Trustee Akaka, Trustee Akina,
Aloha mai kako.
Trustee Alapa,
Present.
Trustee Kahele, Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Souza,
Yo.
Trustee Waihe'e,
Then,
Chair Galutaria.
Ayo.
You have 9 present, which constitutes a quorum.
Mahalo. Trustees who are joining us by Zoom, and I see we have several, please enable your cameras for the duration of the meeting if you're able to do so. All other OHA staffers, please enable your cameras when you need to address the committee members. If you'd like to speak, raise your hand. When recognized by the committee chair, please proceed to speak and lower your hand and mute your mic when you're done. Now, joining us today, well, let me continue for a moment. In order to eliminate any background noise, which can affect the quality of the sound on OHA's live stream and making it difficult to hear the speaker, everyone, please mute your device's microphones until you are called on to speak. At the prompting of the chair, BAE staff will do a roll call to determine quorum. We've done that at the beginning of the meeting and each vote. 5 members present in person and virtually constitutes a quorum. Roll call votes will also be called to determine the board's position on committee matters, a simple majority. If for any reason you are disconnected from the meeting, we will pause for 1 minute to allow you time to reconnect. After 1 minute, the meeting will continue provided there is a quorum. And trustees, if you need to leave the meeting, please inform the chair by announcing that you are leaving the meeting. Okay. Joining our trustees today is OHA's CEO, Kapuana Stacy Ferreira, along with some of her administrative staff. So, Stace, would you like to call on and introduce your staff members joining us today, please?
Mahalo, Chair. Aloha, Vice Chair and trustees. Joining us in person and online. From administration, we have Chief Operating Officer Kehau Pu'u, Chief Financial Officer Ramona Hank, Endowment Director Ryan Lee, Interim Corporation Counsel Everett Ota, Interim Senior Legal Counsel Nichi Ozawa, Senior Director of Strategy Implementation Elena Farden, Senior Director of Hawaiian Cultural Affairs Hailama Farden, Director of Advocacy Lena Alale, Lead Compliance Specialist Kamakana Ferreira, Policy Advocate Kealoha Pescada, Director of Communications Bill Brennan, IT Systems Engineer and Administrator Daniel Santos, and Kelsey Wade. Mahalo.
Mahalo. And Stacy, we have a new employee, don't we, that we want to acknowledge, a part of our family here. Is she here today?
Chair, Lisa Vaughn, she actually introduced her, Sakona Vaughn introduced herself at a previous board meeting.
Okay.
Mahalo for the opportunity.
Mahalo. Thank you. Well, once again, we will be moving to the second item on the agenda momentarily, but as you folks know, I always like to try and set the tone for the meeting. It's important that we do business today in an intentional manner. So as we begin, and this is for everybody, including those in the viewing audience, I want to draw inspiration from a phrase, Olelo no eau, that was written by Auntie Mary Kovena Pukui. Ike e ke au nui, me ke au iki. which translates to know the big currents and the little currents. Okay? That's important because we've got to remember the importance of awareness and adaptability, especially during this time. It's essential to understand not only the larger forces at play, but also the subtle ones. And especially in the pending legislation that we're about to discuss. We want to be aware of both the major legislative efforts and the smaller details as well. Okay? And what often is not considered, everyone, is the reasons or perhaps the backstories of why legislation is deferred. There's always a backstory. Let's not see something that's not there, but let's also try and learn why something falls off the table that may affect us. Okay, now, important for us to understand, and not only for the board to understand, but everybody in this room, the legislative calendar. We're right in the middle of it. Okay, so we are now entering, if I'm right, hopefully I'm right, it's the 26th day of the session. Last week, Thursday and Friday was what is referred to as the first lateral. I don't know if you guys know what that means, but let me tell you. The first lateral in legislative work refers to the deadline for a bill to move into its last committee. After that deadline, subsequent committees must schedule the bill for a hearing or decision-making, pass the bill, kill the bill, and make sure it's reported out. Tomorrow we begin a 5-day mandatory recess. During that mandatory recess, basically has to do with the floor, okay? Because the committee work continues, investigations continue, work on legislation away from the floor continues. It's also a time, as legislators, they are asked to go back into the districts and report. So it's like in an in-district work period. Okay. Now, next Friday, February 28th, and the reason I'm sharing this is because we're not meeting as a board for the next couple of weeks. So action is happening with or without us. And we got to know what's going on. So that's first decking, right? And basically, it refers to the deadline for a bill to pass second reading and be heard and filed by the final committee in its chamber, whether it started in the House or whether it started with the Senate. So I want to be deliberate about this, okay, you guys? We don't want to be walking our way through blind through something as important as a session, okay? And finally, I want to use the va'a as the metaphor, okay? The navigators read the tides, they read the currents, and they can get us to the island. In that context, let's use these broader trends and these nuanced provisions that can affect our outcomes in the legislature, okay? So let's embrace that as we move forward. I'd like to move to the second item on the agenda. That's approval of the minutes. We will be deferring the approval of the minutes for the February 5th, 2025 Committee on Beneficiary Advocacy and Empowerment, everybody. Okay, I'd like to do that. Any discussion here? Okay. Now, moving forward, before we take any kind of action, I'd like to review our public policy guidelines. Public testimony should be limited to matters listed on today's meeting agenda. If issues are raised about items not on this agenda, you will be called out of order, and I will direct you to limit your testimony to the item currently being considered on the agenda. Your name will be called, your microphone will be unmuted. If you are not audible when called upon, you will be muted and the next testifier will be called. State your name, organization, agenda item. Oral testimony limited to 5 minutes. A timer will be on the screen to count down 5 minutes. Your mic will be automatically muted once you have completed your oral testimony. Okay. Do we proceed to new business? Len? Yeah. Okay, let's proceed to new business. I'd like to acknowledge Lena Allah. Lena Alalay, OHA's chief advocate. We'll start drilling down on the matrices right now.
Aloha, good morning, trustees.
Hello.
So we could just go through again briefly Matrix 1. This is OHA's package that does not need action, but just to provide an update. The Island Burial Council bill, which is moving on the Senate side, has its second hearing actually at 10 o'clock today. And the testimony, the publicly available testimony, was overwhelmingly in support. About 4/5 of the testimony submitted, maybe like 120 pieces of testimony, were in favor of the bill. So we'll know what happens at that hearing after this meeting. So that's what's going on with the burial. Yes, it is decision-making only, which is why none of us are there to testify. The committee's not taking oral testimony. It's just a written testimony that I just reviewed, and it was overwhelmingly positive. Our budget bill that's moving on the Senate side as well, successfully, you testified at both hearings. Pass out of those two committees, going to WAM next. The Public Land Trust Working Group is moving on the House side. It also needs to go to the Financial Committee next. It made it through both of its subject matter committees successfully. Yeah, and those are all of our bills. Kakako Makai still also needs to move on the Senate side, is where it's moving, and it needs to go into its Financial Committee to WAM next. And again, that will be a hearing that we can do written testimony, but they won't be taking oral testimony at the WAM hearing. So that is the status of our Kakako Makai bill. Yep, that's all on Matrix 1.
Yeah, mahalo, Mr. Chair. Mahalo, Leila. Any updates as far as feedback we've been getting from the Senate or House or anything like that on any of our bills in particular?
Not that I think merits bringing to the board's attention at this time. I'm not sure if Chair or CEO would like to add to that. What's on here?
Mahalo, Trustee Souza, for that question. I know that when we've been appearing in front of the House committees, we've been getting a lot of great feedback regarding the Public Land Trust Working Group bill to get that inventory updated. Yeah, I feel like on the House side, it's been very, very positive, which has been good. And again, we're seeing that positive motion when having it past the different committees.
Okay. Mahalo for that. We're done with Matrix 1. Any other questions, trustees? No? And by the way, for the record, Lay, there were no testifiers on this Matrix, what? Right?
No testifiers.
Okay, Kalamai on that one. Okay, why don't we proceed with our next matrix. Are there any, Leanne, are there any testifiers on this subject?
No testifiers, Chair.
This is OHA's position on bills naming OHA, right? Lay?
Correct.
Okay, please proceed.
So the main item I'd like to bring to the board's attention is item number 25. It's on page 5. And this was a short form bill that was amended last week to add language to suggest a master settlement group, working group be formed. And it's related to the Public Land Trust Working Group that Stacey just referenced, because this bill proposes to end the work of the working group and replace it with a new working group looking at settlement. So with chairs, Chair Galutaria and Chair Kahele's approval.
Which bill are you on right now?
Item 25.
Item 25, thank
It's listed as a short form bill because that was the form it was introduced in. And it wasn't until hearing before the Hawaiian Affairs Committee last week that it was amended to actually have language to propose a master settlement working group to look at a process for OHA and the state to negotiate a settlement of all future claims. So with Chair Kahele's approval and Chair Galutera's approval, we submitted testimony saying, not really taking a position, it was comments, saying OHA would be open to the idea of a working group, but that the work of the PLT working group needs to be completed before any settlement working group would be formed, because the work of the Public Land Trust Working Group is to do the land-based inventory and the receipts audit that would be necessary to have a baseline point of negotiation with the state. So we proposed that they amend the bill so it didn't eliminate the Public Land Trust Working Group, because as written, it does in fact eliminate the Public Land Trust Working Group, but they did not accept our amendments. So that is of concern because we do have our own bill moving to continue funding for the Public Land Trust Working Group, and specifically OHA to hire the third-party professionals to conduct the land inventory and audit. So we will need to continue to be active on this bill to make sure that the work of the Public Land Trust Working Group is not prematurely ended before they're able to complete the scope of work.
Trustee Akaka.
Although regarding this bill, when I was reading it, what always concerns me is when I see something anywhere near the term global settlement and settling all future claims, as I don't believe that best serves our people to just say that we hand over the rights to those lands and never get paid for that, if that is what the conversation is here with this bill.
Well, the bill, it does not say that. The bill is a working group. So the working group would be looking at what is the procedure by which OHA could negotiate a master settlement. And the board has not voted, and there's not a position suggested here, because really this is a position that the board needs to decide. So the advocacy department's not recommending a position. Procedurally, like I mentioned, we submitted comments, and the comments were focused on making sure the Public Land Trust Working Group continues its scope of work and finishes the land inventory and audit. And again, this is a bill. This isn't a master settlement bill. It's a working group bill to look at how would the state and the and OHA proceed. And I think there's been a question if the board would want to go into executive session to discuss what would substantively be the position that the board would want to take on this bill.
It's important to note too is the working group is still in progress. As a matter of fact, we're going to have a meeting tomorrow. And both the governor and the House has expressed interest in what the working group is going to come up with. So it's a work in progress at this particular point. I hope that answers your question, Trustee Akaka. And Trustee Hulu, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just want to say that, however, if this bill continues and it gets approved, the Public Land Trust Working Group is a done deal. And that's why we need to now oppose this bill. Because they did not consider our comments in the first round last week.
Mhm. What is the recommendation of the advocate?
Would be that we could take this into executive session, put this on the agenda for executive session, so that our attorneys can provide an opinion on the constitutionality of what is being proposed in this bill, and just even going line by line with trustees through the bill to see what our comments or opposition would be. This is not a new concept that has been brought to OHA, and so I think having the trustees be apprised of what is exactly this bill calling for, so that we're all in the same page, and that a decision by this body can be had.
What is the deadline that we're looking at for something like this?
You know, it moved out of the Hawaiian Affairs and the WAM Joint Committee hearing yesterday. So really, it's going to be when it crosses over. So we have a little bit of time.
Trustee?
Thanks, Chair.
Haley?
Yeah, I mean, my assessment of this bill is still in its infancy, early stages. You know, it was a short form bill that is common practice at the legislative session where legislators, the majority, typically the majority caucus, the majority leader actually will introduce short form bills that have titles with no content, and that allows legislators to do exactly what was done on this particular bill last week, Friday. This bill passed out of the WAM Hawaiian Affairs Committee yesterday and will still need to go to the Senate floor for a vote before being sent to the House, which will then have to be subsequently referred to appropriate committees in the House and have to go through that process as well, which I think will be a more lengthy process than it's almost fast tracking through the Senate. And so I think we have time not to get too excited over this particular bill. I share your concerns as well, though, because the committee didn't accept the amendments that we provided, which was very clear that we wanted the existing public land trust working group that you know, Trustee Lindsay referenced to continue to do its work. And hopefully to be able to, in tandem with our public land trust working group bill, that will add the necessary resources so that we can do an accurate public inventory of all ceded lands to complete its work. So I think conversations with relevant subject matter chairs on the House side are good to have now as we anticipate this bill going to the House. Clearly, it's going to be referred to the Hawaiian Affairs Committee, and so maybe we start there. And then we can have further discussions, I think, in the next couple of weeks. I don't think we need to jump to a conclusion on taking a firm position on it. Let's see what the House does. And then we can reassess in the mid-March, early April timeframe. That would be my recommendation.
Thank you, Chair. Trustee Akaka.
Going back to the original thing I had mentioned, though, my main concern is the lines where it says, 1, determine the process of calculating the total amount owed to clear all future claims of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs against the state. And 2, determine the process by which the Office of Hawaiian Affairs may negotiate a master settlement with the state. How is that defined to you?
I think that's what Kapuhana was referencing. We would want to go into executive session to discuss with you know, the board's attorneys what exactly is implied by that language and what would be the, you know, guardrails or boundaries that we would want to set on that.
Trustee, as part of the short form, from what I can recall, and you know, as a former legislator too, Chair Kahele could probably weigh in on, this is a means by which to push an item. And the frankly, the people who have pushed it and introduced it have been talking global settlement for years and years and years.
That's a concern.
And this is how they're advancing the cause. Now, what Trustee Chair Kahele was mentioning, we're still kind of early in that game. And if it makes its way across, and it might make its way across simply because the person who's pushing it has a lot of reach. And so but then we're going to have to work on the other side. So I see your concern. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that always heightens my concern when I see this exact wording, global settlement, all future claims, meaning we relinquish any future payments. To me, that's a no-go.
Yeah. And, you know, we can, as we say, we move into the executive session, we can come up with very vibrant, robust discussions about these options. But I think we got to wait until we're in that session. So anyway, moving forward, though, are there any other discussions about Matrix 2? No?
Chair, we have a testifier,
We have
Laulani Teal.
Laulani? Oh, okay. Laulani, are you there?
Aloha, yeah, can you hear me? Actually, I was trying to testify on, I think it's item D, So I think it's still coming up. I believe that's the one, the health, and either item D or item F. So there, I want to talk about the Hanau bill. So I'm not sure actually which one is most appropriate.
Is this in Matrix 2
No, that's matrix 6.
or Matrix 6? So Laulani, can you hang on for a bit?
Yeah. So I just had the hand up because I'm not sure how to say which item to testify on. I'm so sorry.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Okay, let's move forward. Now we need a motion if there's no other discussions here.
I'm sorry, Chair, there was one other bill we wanted to flag, and Stacy will talk about SB4. That was the bill to have LNR transfer Mauna Ala to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, and that bill was deferred.
Correct. It was deferred, Chair. So Senator Richards asked that at the end of session that we convene, he's going to convene the different stakeholders to have a discussion. The interesting part about this particular hearing was that there was overwhelming support in favor of the transfer to OHA. Even DLNR did not oppose it. So it was a little bit shocking that it was deferred. But it seems from Senator Richards' comments that he was talking to some folks, behind the scenes, and he feels like there's additional conversation that needs to still occur.
Okay, any comment on that, trustees? No, seeing none, okay. We'd like to move this, pardon me?
From, for consistency,
Okay, go ahead.
item 2, we have SB 1193 and HB 305 for matrix 2. I see that we have it currently listed as a position of oppose, and the last meeting it was where we're gonna change it to comment.
Yes, I took that note. I'm not sure why it hasn't been updated in our filing system, but yeah, that one's actually, I believe it was actually monitor that we had agreed to put it on. No comment. Oh, I apologize. This is a different one. Yes, you're right. This is the one that's on comment.
Okay.
Okay,
And then with item 6, HB 780, SB 848 relating to desalination. It's listed as support, and last meeting it was to be changed to monitor.
Correct. I have a list of all of those. I cannot speak to why they're not updated in here, but I have that list you're referring to. Yes, we will make sure that gets updated.
Just want that to be reflected when we're voting too.
anything else? Matrix 2, yeah?
Yeah, that's just matrix 2. And for item 24, HB 671 relating to Native Hawaiians.
What item number are you on?
Item number 24, HB 671, SB 1538 relating to Native Hawaiians. The DBET is in support in their testimony. And I see that we're gonna have it as comment and. Let's see.
Yeah, this bill is dead. So,
That bill is
Okay.
dead?
yeah.
Okay, then we don't comment.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, very good. I tell you what, let's move out of this one with some business. We need a motion to adopt and amend the approval of the staff's recommendations for positions on bills affecting the bills naming OHA as reflected in Matrix 2. Do I hear a motion? Thank you. A second?
Second.
Okay, moved by trustee Souza, second by trustee Waihehe. Okay, you need to say something.
Good morning, trustees. To the extent that there are revisions or there's
changes that need to be noted to the matrix or differences in the position that are noted, I would suggest that those be called out just for
Exactly.
clarity. So if we can maybe take, I have down the position on SB 1193 from pose to comment, and then the position on SB 848 from support to monitor. And then if there are others, take note of those in the motion, perhaps as an amendment, just so that again, because we're approving the positions on the matrix too, we just want to ensure that those are accurately reflected in the motion.
Okay, again, the changes or the adoptions or the amendments you just stated for the record, right?
Yes, and I guess if maybe those changes would get adopted or made as an amended motion by one of the members, that amendment can then be voted on and then amend the
Okay,
motion to be taken.
because the motion mentions amendments as well. Okay. Navy?
First of all, I mean, the bills we're talking about, are they even alive still?
The last one was dead, so we could take that one off the list. Trustee Kaka, did you?
Okay, who's monitoring this? What's dead and what's alive?
The HB 671, item 24, those bills are dead.
SB 1193, HB 305. Was that one, and HB 780, SB 848. I'd have to look.
Those are alive.
Okay, Chair Kelly?
Yeah, Chair, trustees, just, I think one of the issues we have is because we have to file an agenda, right, 6 days prior, and those agendas have to have the matrices, and a lot has happened in the last 6 days at the legislature, like first crossover. There are bills on here that had to be published
Right.
when the chair's agenda was scheduled, but no longer are alive. So that's why there's discrepancies. That's just part of the unfortunate
Right.
process
But
of publishing matrices. So.
There's that, but then it also was a consistency where it wasn't matching up with last week's position. So it's having to match that and us voting accordingly to being consistent with that. Yeah. Thank you.
Trustee Souza?
Mr. Chair, if I need to retract my motion and make the amendment to include the proposed amendments stated by Everett Ota, I could do that.
That sounds reasonable. If that's okay with the board, we'll do that. Okay. Everett? Is Everett here? Okay, for the motion, once again, we're gonna add these changes to trustee Souza's motion, okay?
Thank you, Chair. So I think it's again the motion as originally read. In addition, to amend the bill position on SB 1193, HB 305 on matrix 2 from oppose to comment, and then position on SB 848, HB 780 from support to monitor. Then if there are any others that need to be similarly updated.
The companion bill is HB 780, and is that one still alive? If so, then that's a companion bill.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes, I think I referenced that in the suggested amendment.
Okay,
Chair, I move for the amended motion.
second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adopt amendments for the approval of staff's recommendations for positions on bills affecting the bills naming OHA as reflected in matrix 2. Any further discussions? If not, we're going to go for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Kanlua? Okay, that's been moved. Thank you. Let's proceed with the next matrix 3. Okay,
So the new bills are listed starting on page 4. They're highlighted in yellow. The only ones again for decision makings are ones with positions. But I do notice that item 15, that was an error that's in there. I did not approve that position, and that's not the position that we are taking. We're just monitoring that bill. But items 16 and 18 are new bills with positions that the board needs to approve.
before we go on, any testifiers in this, Lay?
No testifiers.
Okay, Kalamai, please proceed.
So I'm just ready to take questions if there's any questions about item 16 and 18, but everything else on the matrix is previously approved if it's not highlighted.
Any questions, trustees? Trustee Akaka?
Before I ask questions on what's on matrix 3, I wanted to mention SB 746 relating to invasive species. Thinking that could be a bill that would be an option to be added for matrix 3 and or matrix 8. And that one is conserving the invasive species of the rhinoceros beetle. And the concern there is that it could possibly be harmful for hala, kalo, banana, pineapple, and so forth. So I was thinking that it would maybe fit under one of these matrices.
Yeah, that would probably be matrix 4, land and natural
4.
resources.
Okay. So you're going to move that to matrix 4, or concern?
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion on matrix 3? Trustee Akaka?
I had concern over item 13 HB 653 relating to non-general funds. We currently have it as monitor, and when I was reading about it, it was talking about tens of millions of dollars, more than 483 million in excess of money, maybe transferred to the general funds. So I wanted to kind of get your guys' take on that.
Yeah, that bill is also dead.
Okay, thank you. And then relating to HB 1318 relating to affordable housing. That one's still going, yeah.
Yes.
I see that we currently have it as opposed, but is it maybe better for us to have it opposed with comments?
Yes, we've, that one, I'm sorry, that one was one I meant to let you know we are just commenting on it. And the comment is that any, lands that are set aside would still need to be subject to OHA's 20% share.
Right. Okay, thank you. And then let's see, SB 739 relating to land exchange. That one's still alive.
That one is still alive, yes.
Okay, so we have it as opposed, but I think our testimonies did it as comment, but are we changing position or the?
You're correct. It's the same comment as the last one
Okay,
we
okay.
discussed. It's basically for all the ceded land bills,
Right,
which this is a ceded lands matrix. It is the comment related to OHA's 20% share.
great, thank you.
Okay, before we make this motion, complete this decision, the chair does not oppose to any of you folks, any of the members going directly to Leonala prior to this meeting and airing concerns or perhaps some wishes. Okay, just letting you guys know.
Well,
That's all right.
a lot of this is so lengthy, the time it takes days to review it is.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
I do understand. Chair, Hulu?
I just wanted to say that maybe it would be helpful to the trustees for administration to send out changes on the week that we don't have a meeting like this. So we can update our matrix on our own.
Yeah. it's a
Because,
very-
you know, in the past year, during the session, BAE had a meeting every week. Yeah, that's just sharing.
Okay, gotcha. That's a very good idea.
We can download them on a weekly basis. That's fine. We can download the matrices and share them on a weekly basis. That's fine.
Okay.
Just to add to what Trustee Lindsay was saying, previously in my work in BAE, what I would do is I would work with the team behind the scenes so that to mitigate any of this more back and forth, and that we could arrive at the table with the decisions on the positions. And I think part of the challenge not having the weekly meeting and things ever changing, and now with the sunshine law having it where the matrices has to be provided as it will be at that time, and then it evolves into positions changing. I do think that's a good suggestion in terms of until we figure it out better, that we have that avenue to just know what the changes are made, and then we already know before the meeting. Thank you.
Weekly is fine.
Okay, very good. Okay, so let's move towards deciding then. We need a motion to adopt or amend the approval of staff's recommendations for positions on bills affecting the public land trust as reflected in Matrix 3. I hear a motion? Moved by Trustee Lindsay, seconded by Trustee Souza. Any discussion, members?
And that is to change 16 and 18 to comment, right?
Correct.
Correct. Okay. Any other discussions? Saying none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Let's move on. Okay. Now, this is a affecting matrix 4. OHA's position on bills affecting natural resources, native Hawaiian traditional and customary practices. Okay, Lena Ala?
So the new bills are highlighted starting on page 4. And item 19 has died since the matrix was published. So if there's any questions on the remaining bills.
Questions, no questions?
Yeah, regarding item 18 relating to Red Hill, HB 505 SB 150. I saw that Sierra Club of Hawaii named OHA. Are they looking to adopt the wording? Was it this one died too?
Yes.
Wow, these things are moving quickly. Thank you.
Let me double check if that one died.
Okay,
Red Hill
I
one.
thought this one was still going, but
Yeah, no,
maybe
the
since-
19 died, I think 18, sorry,
18,
18 is
the
still
Red Hill.
alive, yes.
Yeah. So, if it is naming OHA, maybe we can next time add it to Matrix 2.
Okay.
But are there any other general feelings on that bill? With our
This is the
involvement?
one we, I feel like this actually might be a duplicate that it is on Matrix 2 and approved, because we had discussed this about, supporting the VI policy initiative as what has, it was a body that was comprised of representatives of the Senate, the House, and the governor and the county. And all the parties had a common understanding of needing oversight of what happens with Red Hill. So this bill would specify that within CWRM, the Commission on Water Resource Management, there would be, dedicated positions and funding and focus on Red Hill cleanup. So it would help to ensure continued oversight.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion about this particular matrix? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion to adopt amend the approval of staff's recommendations for position on bills affecting natural resources and Native Hawaiian traditional and customary practices as reflected in Matrix 4. Do I hear a motion? Okay. Pardon me? We still gotta move. We gotta move the matrix. Yeah. Okay, so moved by trustee
Akina.
Akina, second by trustee Souza. Any more discussion on this matter? Saying none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? No? Okay, thank you very much. Mahalo. Okay. Let's move on. OHA position on bills affecting Native Hawaiian housing, a matrix 5. I know that we do have testifiers, don't we, Leanne? No?
Laulani, is this the matrix you want to testify on about midwives?
That's
I,
Matrix 6 health.
yeah, I believe it's the next one.
Okay, thank
Matrix
you.
5 or matrix 6? This one? Oh, 6. Okay. Then let's, any other testifiers on this subject matter? None? Okay, then, Lena Ala, please proceed.
So the highlighting did not make it into this matrix, but the only new item was item 6. The second page.
Pardon me? What was that?
Item 6 was new, but it wasn't highlighted.
Okay.
So that is for decision making. And there were 2 other items that were new, but they've died. So item 6 is the only item on this matrix for approval.
I see. Okay. Trustees, any questions for Lay? Okay. Seeing none. And this is matrix 5, yeah? We need we have a motion, I need a motion rather to amend the approval of staff's recommendations for position on bills affecting Native Hawaiian housing. Do I hear a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I'm
Trustee Wahiri.
sorry. This is the one we wanted to do, the motion to amend.
I-
We
I
wanted
don't make that, I don't make the
Okay.
motion at all.
Okay.
There's a bill that's not on here, but that was had a gentleman come and testify last week, HB 606, and it's for $600 million in funding for the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. And DHHL has reached out to us to ask if we will support. They're having a rally next week. So it's not on the matrix, but we wanted to make a motion to add HB 606 to this.
A motion to add a bill
Yes.
to the matrix.
Yes. Yes, HB 606, it is a DHHL funding bill for $600 million, and they're asking us for support.
Wow.
If I may, Chair.
It's not
Now you have
agendized.
Yeah, I mean, we all know the importance and significance that is, and I'm sure we all fully are in support of it. And, you know, it's brought to our attention last 2 weeks ago by Shane Pale. You know, I think we just need to get it properly agendized. Unfortunately, it wasn't. And I think that in the interim, we should do so and take it up at the next meeting.
Okay, so your recommendation is just to table it for now. Okay, any other discussion on this matter? Trustee Waihe, did you have your hand up?
No, I was going to say, what council just told us. I think, because I think we tried to put it on the last time and we couldn't because it wasn't agendized. And I guess Sunshine Law has changed as such that we have to do it that way. But he gave the opinion, so.
Thank you, thank you. Just for our discussion, what does the tea leaf say on this particular bill? Is it supported? Kapuana, what's your sense?
It's an HD1, so it made it out of its first committee. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Chair Kelly, you have
Yeah,
something?
the bill is currently referred to the Committee on Finance, so it's made it through, two committees and it's, finance right now, so you can keep an eye on it.
Okay, Chair's recommendation, just keep an eye on it for now. No action today. Okay, anything else we need to discuss with regard to this matrix?
Regarding,
Trustee Akaka.
regarding the rally, is it where, just to make sure I hear this right, is it where we're asked to participate?
Yes, trustee, Kali Watson did ask if OHA would come out and support. They're going to be doing sign waving and they're going to have some speeches. They would like, you know, chair or another leader from the board to come out and provide comments. It's the same day as our freshman meet and greet, so it's next week, Tuesday.
Next week, Tuesday?
Correct. And it's from 10 to 11:30. And then our meet and greet follows at 12 o'clock.
Is this
Okay,
meet and greet
anyone
with
else?
all
Oh,
of us?
Trustee Akaka? Trustee Akaka?
Yeah, are we gonna get more information on this meet and greet?
I think Chair Galutaria's staff sent information to all trustees.
I let the aides know just to put on the calendar, and I was gonna send out an email today because I was trying to get this all organized.
So you folks will receive the information shortly. And if, you know, you can make it, I'm not quite sure on the response yet, who's responded, but it was sent out, who sent it out as, over there?
So we have, from the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, we had your office send it out to the freshman class of the House.
No,
and
I'm
then-
talking about
Yeah,
who,
then Representative Kanani Souza sent it
Kanani
out
Souza.
broadly to both Senate and House.
I see. So it morphed into something bigger than just a freshman lunch.
Correct.
Representative Kanani Souza took it on herself to invite the legislature?
Correct.
Oh, my. No,
It's during, you know, they'll be on recess. So, you know, I think her intent was to open it up because we're just not sure who will be in the Square building at the time. So great
see.
opportunity for all of the legislature to meet and greet with our trustees.
Chair Cahill, you have something to say?
Yeah, trustees, the, admin published it on their materials for tomorrow's Board of Trustee meeting. So the information is on there and you can review it there and we'll also discuss it when the admin does their update, tomorrow morning. So you can bring your questions in for it.
Okay. Any other discussion on matrix? Which one are we on here? Whatever matrix we're on. None?
We're on Matrix 5.
Matrix 5.
Matrix 5, okay. So we need a motion to adopt, amend the approval of staff's recommendations for bills on Matrix 5 affecting Native Hawaiian housing. Hear a motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you, everyone. Mahalo. Let's proceed. OHA's position on bills affecting Native Hawaiian health, Matrix 6. Leanne, any testifiers, please?
Yes, Laulani Teal.
Could I flag something really quick because it might also require a legal opinion? There is a bill relating to midwives that we had supported and that's dead. And there is one remaining midwife bill that's moving, but it's not agendized. So I just wanted to flag that.
Okay, when we get into discussion, then we can
Okay,
return to that.
okay.
Meanwhile, I want to make sure that we give Leilani her time. Leigh, are you there? Laulani, rather. Laulani, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please proceed.
Mahalo, mahalo. So yes, as the chief advocate said, unfortunately, HB 1328 was deferred with no vote in health CPC. And that was very unfortunate because there was a lot of testimony, including many student midwives who had flown over from Lahaina. But as it is, HB 1194, I thought that was on the matrix, that OHA has a position in opposition. So we're asking OHA to keep that position in opposition for now, because it has not been sufficiently amended to actually protect Hawaiian rights. So they did amend in the committee the matter to somewhat protect the constitutional rights of Native Hawaiian healers. However, it does not protect the rights of the actual Hanau practitioners who, in the practice of Hanau, traditionally are primarily the birthing people, the makuahine. So that is the difficulty, because the reality is that in our communities, those birthing people are the ones who who need the protection and need the access. So to both cultural practices and to any services, particularly in rural areas. So we're asking OHA to please keep a position in opposition, however, to support the 5 points that our community is trying to build consensus around. And those are, real quick: 1, every birthing person has the right to choose who attends their birth, and criminalization of any chosen attendant is not acceptable. It's also quite dangerous, because in the event of a hospital transport, the criminalization of an attendant is what leads to delayed transfers, and delayed transfers are what causes problems, and also no communication, obviously, with the hospital. 2, cultural and spiritual birth practices must be clearly protected, which is especially vital for indigenous traditions, that applies to all cultural practices. Now, they did make an amendment that somewhat protects healers, but the cultural practices that are involved go far beyond Native Hawaiian healers per se. So there is still a continuing concern over that one for the beneficiaries. Number 3, licensure equity. So right now, there is no pathway for local people, including Kanaka Maoli, to be able to access clinical licensure, to access licensure at all. It requires what's called meek schooling, which is only available in the continental US. So right now, we have no Kanaka Maoli who have, out of the 40 licenses that have been issued, there have been no Kanaka Maoli, and there's only been 1 person who is local born at all. So the rest, 97% of licensees currently are from out of state originally. So the current licensure scheme, which this bill currently continues, basically displaces our cultural and traditional practices and changes potentially the actual culture of birth. So number 4.
Lee, you have 1 minute, Lee. 1 minute, Laulani.
Yeah.
No, please continue. You have 45 seconds now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so number 4, certified midwives and certified professional midwives, the current licensees, must be able to fulfill their full scope of practice, which is important for the beneficiaries because of safety. And number 5, very importantly, the term midwife belongs to the community, especially the Hawaiian community, with cultural protocols for its use. It is not a proprietary title and should not be taken from the cultures who use it. We in the Kanaka Maoli community have our own protocols, and other cultures do as well. So mahalo nui loa for your time. Again, please continue the opposition of HB 1194, but to keep an eye on it, because if we're able to put all of these matters into it at some point, that may change. But at this time, please continue to oppose. Mahalo nui loa. We really need your support.
Mahalo, Laulani. Thank you so much. Any other testifiers on Matrix 6? No, seeing none. Okay, any discussion, members? Seeing none, then we move for a motion to adopt, amend the approval of staff's recommendations for positions on bills affecting Native Hawaiian health as reflected in Matrix 6. Any motions? So moved and seconded by trustee Lindsay, trustee Souza. Any discussions? Trustee Akaka.
I wanted to ask for item 24 HB 221 SB 101 relating to medical school tuition. Is that one still alive?
Yes.
So I see that we have it as support, and I was wondering if it made more sense to have it as monitor and how I can guess how we landed on that decision. Reading the testimonies, I thought maybe it might make sense for us to monitor that one.
Could you explain
Elaborate,
why?
Well, some felt that they were limited to saying that if you have to be in Hawaii for 2 years following your graduation and so forth, some feel that that is just limiting. And I do see how the support you want to have it there because we need to have more doctors here, but at the same time, some feel that that will alter their decision to attend school here in Hawaii if that is the case. That could have another effect.
What's
Yeah, I
your
think the
suggestion?
intent was,
I was wondering how we landed on that, but that's some of the testimony that I was reading and the concerns.
I think the
by
intent was
students.
to have more recently graduated physicians to serve in our underserved rural communities where there's not enough doctors. And that having, tuition reimbursement or fellowships or different opportunities that alleviate some of the financial burden makes it more likely that they will serve our underserved rural communities. So that's the healthcare focus of the bill.
Mm. Okay,
I can understand that too.
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
either way,
All right.
it's another opinion.
Just leave it there. Any other discussion, members? Okay, let me see. Let's adopt and amend the approval of staff's recommendations for positions for bills affecting Native Hawaiian health. I need a motion.
I'm sorry, I had that clarification. Lalani Teal's testimony was on 1194.
1194.
But 1194 is not on the matrix. What happened is the bill that we were supporting, which is 1183, died. So the only vehicle that is still alive is 1194. So the proposal, as I understand the testimony, is to continue our advocacy for a traditional and customary practitioner exemption to regulation in the bill, the vehicle that's alive. And I'm looking to legal counsel whether the fact that we have a different bill but the same subject matter is sufficient for us to make that decision. But the bill we were supporting died again since this was published. So now we have this new information that the only bill alive is one that we didn't have a position on, so it's not on the matrix.
I see. So moving forward, 1194,
That's the one that's
that's the one that
moving.
Laulani is asking for opposition on.
For us to be sure that if that's a vehicle that's moving, it has the sufficient protections for Native Hawaiian practitioners.
Okay, well, it would,
Yes, opposition.
let's keep an eye on it then. Yeah. Okay, trustee Akaka?
Mahalo. Regarding another bill, item 36, HB 1263, regarding, relating to corrections. I see that we have it as comment. And I was wondering if it would make more sense for it to be as support, given that funding is provided. This is something that is in alignment with our advocacy through the years, and
Yes,
I also
that
didn't
makes
find
sense.
testimony from OHA, but
Yeah, because it hadn't been approved yet.
yeah, so maybe support would be better. Or do you want to keep
I
it as
think
comment?
support, it makes sense. I mean, our comments were primarily positive
Yeah,
as to the proposal. I would have to ask staff why it is comment rather than support, but it was definitely favorable as to there needing to be reentry services.
What's the forecast on the bill?
Oh,
Does it stand a
you
chance?
know what? It's dead. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
What is that?
It's dead.
Oh, it's dead. Oh, jeez. Okay. All right. Maybe you can let us know before we get into our discussion that it's dead. Okay.
Yeah, it's,
All right.
sorry, I didn't realize it's dead.
No, that's okay. That's all right. Any other discussion on this matrix? No? Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay,
Chair,
pardon me?
just for the record, trustee Alapa had to leave and she's back, so she was not present at the vote.
Okay. Subject?
No
Uh,
testifiers.
No testifiers? Okay. I tell you what, let's get into the discussion by making the motion right now. To adopt, amend the approval of staff's recommendation for approval, position rather, for bills affecting Native Hawaiian health. Do I have a motion? Is it education?
So
Oh,
moved,
I'm
Mr.
sorry, education.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
My bad. Okay, we have a trustee Waihehe moves, second by trustee Lindsay. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, discussion. Leonala?
The new bills starts on page 7, so there's quite a number of new bills on this matrix, they're the highlighted ones. And of those new ones, item 28 is dead. But the rest, oh, item 28 and item 37 are dead, but the remainder are alive.
Okay. Questions? Trustee Akaka?
For HB 1496, item 34 relating to education, given that it names OHA, I'm thinking we could add that to our matrix too next time. And then, regarding item 38, HB 1476 relating to, well, I'm wondering if this is like a mix-up, if it's relating to environmental assessments with Papa Hanau Mokuakea instead of the Kaipuni.
Sorry, what item are you looking at?
Item 38 HB 1476.
Yeah, that does look like it, but the Papahanaumokuakea one was on the number 2 and it is dead.
Yeah. Think- It's
Did-
just wrong bill number.
Yeah, I
what
don't
it
know
is?
how that happened.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? Any other questions? Members? Okay, we have a motion on the table here to approve. This is Native Hawaiian Health, yeah? Adopt, amend approval of staff's recommendations for positions for bills affecting Native Hawaiian Health.
Isn't this education?
Native Hawaiian,
It's education matrix.
are we on 6?
Matrix
We're
7.
on 7.
We're on 7. Oh, yeah. We have a motion pending here. Native Hawaiian.
Sorry, there was a question from trustee Hulu. The blue is where the position changed.
Pardon me, Lei? What was that?
There's a blue item on this matrix and it's where the position changed, item 18.
Okay, let's move to the next one. To adopt. This is Native Hawaiian. Which one we have? Economic development. Okay, let's get started. Any testifiers on this subject?
No testifiers.
Okay, let's have a motion to approve, amend the approval of staff's recommendations for position of bills affecting Native Hawaiian economic development as reflected in matrix 8. Do I hear a motion? So moves trustee Lindsay, seconded by trustee Souza. Any discussion on this matter? Lee?
So for item 10 is the one new agenda item and, you know, I reviewed this further and talked to some of our Hawaii Island staff and we could support this. There's support within the community. It's basically to establish a new district within the Hawaii Community Development Authority to, you know, allow for community input into planning. I think we're all familiar now with the HCDA rules, but they do allow for community input. So there is, you know, feeling within Hilo. So I don't know if any of the other trustees want to speak to this, but there is my understanding from staff on Hawaii Island is there is feeling that this would be appropriate to support. And we did have outreach from Representative Leloy about supporting this bill.
Any wording in there about taking HCDA off of Makai and moving them
Yeah.
away and as far as possible?
I think that might, I mean, that's kind of the complicated thing. We had it as monitor, but it is to expand the jurisdiction of HCDA.
Trustee Akaka?
Yeah, when I read this bill and I read the testimony, I did see that there are those in Hilo that are supporting it. My first thought immediately went to what Trustee Galataria is speaking on in terms of HCDA's reach, oftentimes an overreach. And I know that former Governor and Congressman Abercrombie had made it very clear through the years that they have that overreach and that they should be dissolved. And we have found when it comes to Kaka'ako or many developments that are deserving, they don't get the attention, and HCDA, there's always some kind of roadblock in the way. So are they productive? That is questionable sometimes. So do I feel that this might be beneficial to Hilo? Maybe it would with the ships coming in, tourism industry or different businesses that want to give their feedback, but are there other ways of going about it where they're not limited now or down the line versus it being a productive, efficient?
Sorry,
Yeah.
number SB 1078 is what we're talking about.
We're talking about item 10 HP,
Yeah.
818 SP 1078.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. But it has to do with HCDA too. It's worded in the bill.
Oh, no, nothing.
Yeah.
Just-
Oh.
Okay,
So anyway, that is the concern there.
sure.
Yeah.
That's understandable. Trustee Lindsay?
I just want to say that it was suggested in Maui after the fires that HCDA get involved, and the Maui people totally pushed back. They don't want Honolulu people telling us what to do. So I don't know if Hilo really reached out.
Trustee Kahele?
Just going back to what Trustee Souza said, we're talking about Senate Bill 1078.
House bill is the one that's moving. That's the companion that's moving. Yes.
The fact that Senate Bill 1078 is dead and never got a hearing tells me that House Bill 818 will be dead when it gets to the House. So I think we can move on.
Okay. Anything else on this matrix? No? Seeing none, we have a motion on the table to approve the staff's recommendations for positions on bills affecting Native Hawaiian economic development as reflected in Matrix 8. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Kanalua? No? Okay, mahalo for that. Okay, to the final item, I think, on the agenda. No, oh, two more. This is OHA's position on bills affecting HRS Chapter 6E, Iwi Kupuna Matrix 9. Any testifiers, Le?
No testifiers.
No testifiers. Okay, Leonala? Go ahead.
So the new bills that are added to this matrix start on page 3. There's a number of them. We consulted with DLNR as to the historic preservation review bills that they are monitoring since we are working more closely with them. And so, you know, we reviewed all the bills that they brought to our attention that they were active on, and these are the staff's proposed positions. And Kamakana Ferreira from Compliance is also available to answer questions if there's questions about specific bills. I will note that item 15 is dead. Item 22 is dead. Item 35 is dead. And the rest are still moving. Oh, I'm sorry. The line item following 34, it should say 35.
Okay, quite ironic that you mentioned so many dead bills and we talking about EV kupuna. You know, just not trying to lighten the conversation, but just saying. All right, any other discussions with regard to this? Yes, trustee Akaka.
SB 1463 HB 1144 relating to employment in the State Historic Preservation Program.
Sorry, what item is that?
Item 21. I thought that OHA, we're testifying in support. Are we changing it to comment now?
Yes. This bill is, I mean, they're generally supportive comments, but we don't really need to take an active position, but we are trying to support SHPD because we want them to do, be able to fulfill their work, which is very important, right? Their mandate. And we understand from the department that having the flexibility to have non-civil service professional staff, which is primarily contractors, helps them to be able to process applications. And so this, it's a comment, again, it's not, it's a little bit outside of our role, but we are supporting SHPD and wanting to be able to fulfill their mandate. And it really does take staff, which is something they've lacked.
Okay. Any other discussion or questions regarding this matrix? We're gonna need a motion, everybody, to adopt amend the approval of staff's recommendations for positions on bills affecting HRS Chapter 6E as reflected in Matrix 9. Do I hear a motion? Thank you. Thank you, trustee Whitehead. Second by trustee Souza. Okay, any other discussions on this matter? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? All right. We've come to the end of the train track here. Any further announcements or closing mana'o from any of our members? No? Lena Ala, anything else to add?
No, mahalo, Chair.
Pao? Kapuana?
Nothing. Thank you,
Okay,
Chair.
very good. Then, we're gonna need a motion to adjourn our February 19th meeting.
So moved.
We'll move by trustee Akaka, second by trustee Souza. Okay, Leon, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
trustee Akaka,
Aye.
trustee Akina,
Aye.
trustee Alapa,
Aye.
trustee Kahele, trustee Lindsay, trustee Souza, trustee Waihe'e, Chair Galutaria.
Aye.
9 yes votes.
Okay, at 10:25, we're adjourned. Mahalo. 11 o'clock meeting, right? Okay, don't forget, 11 o'clock, next one.